Morning, everybody. So, let me shut this heater off. Alright, so, let me have a little coffee with everybody. This is not the good coffee. It was one of those nights, man, you get up, and I got a good night's sleep, but I didn't sleep much. But I guess things have been on my mind, I don't know. So I want to get out here and work on a Jeep. Keep your mind busy. To keep your mind busy, things settle out. You're like, I don't know what I was worried about. I'm not worried about nothing. Go figure. I was worried about coffee. I don't know. Who knows? By the way, this coffee sucks. That's one of those Keurubs or whatever they call those things. You drip hot water through grounds and then it goes out. Bah! I like a percolator, man. You gotta have that grounds and then it percolates up and it grinds. That's coffee. I'm waiting for that. About 15 minutes after this video, I'm gonna go get a real cup. But for now, it's coffee. Basically, it's alright. It's alright. So I'm gonna show you now I'm gonna show you what I did. I didn't plan on doing it, but I started working on yesterday. Kind of restoring and cleaning up and painting the front grease that I showed you, all the greasing in the four-wheel drive and all that good stuff, and lube it up, do all the maintenance. Then I was like, you know, I like, so I'm sitting on myself. I started wire wheeling yesterday with the heavy brush, right? And that goes, you know, start doing this, start doing this, and then that's me. I just start doing one thing and I get into something else. Well, I said, well, let's just clean up this whole rear. Let's just do it all nice. I've never done a real video, like I've showed videos where I replaced calipers, hoses, did the bolts over on the hardware, lubed them all up. That never worked out. Then I had to change the caliper anyway because it kept seizing the front brakes up. These brakes are not seized up. Actually, it's not in gear. Is it in gear? Damn, it's in gear. Hold on a second. Let me get it out of gear. Shit. One second. Grab my ladder. Let me go on the other side. Okay, so it's out of gear finally. Yesterday I was turning the rear, or brakes at least, and they should, basically this axle should have nothing going to it. This brake should. Why is the rear wheels, is this thing a four-wheel drive? Okay, it's out of gear, but I'm spinning the front wheels, and the rear wheels are spinning. It must be a four-wheel drive too. That's why it's not having a hard time. I mean, that's pretty decent. Yeah, I'm spinning this, and I'm spinning the whole drive shaft, the whole rear end, going all through transmission, all the way back to rear wheels and rear wheels spinning. With just a little bit of this. Look at that. That's it. Now you hear the backing plate? Now that is awesome. One thing that'll drive people nuts. You get the backing plate crunch. Look at that. All I did was tweak just a little bit on this back. You'll get rust in there, whatever. Now I did a lot of rust removal with the different brushes. You start with a heavy, and then you go down to like a lighter one like this, and then you start getting into nooks and crannies. It's just like a dentist, man. They hit the hard stuff first. Yeah, my wife says I'm always a mess. She's right. So, and then you go down to different brushes. You know, you got different strengths. I go with the heavy ones, and then you start going with the lighter ones, and you got brass, and keep on going. So I decided I'm gonna clean it up. So far this is just cleaned up. This is just heavy wire wheel brush, heavy one. I used to get these things from Craftsman, and they used to be a buck. I wear them out, it's warranted forever. And then you go back and you say, I wore my brush out. And the guy goes, son of a bitch. They give you another brush, another brush, another brush. Craftsman's gone. pretty much. They're at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. It ain't the same. You used to be able to go there and, man, I love that store. That store, you can get a car. Back then, my friend Tommy's father had one. Oh, that was man, we sat in that thing. He's like, yeah, he had dreams. So there's right. I don't take people's dreams, but I keep them going. So, that's where we're at. So this guy had put new shocks on this at one time. Now I'm gonna find out what kind of shock. It's blue. Blue. It's a blue shock. I don't know what the hell that means. So it's got a blue shock and it's got a stabilizer. You could really make this thing nice by you spraying the whole rear. Tape off certain parts you don't want to get all messed up. It's all been greased already. So you took, I noticed what I did too on a lot of stuff. I took just a regular rag and I went between like the ball joint, like say on here. I went between everything and went like this. You know, like you're doing a shoe, like you're polishing a shoe, like the old days. And you get in there and you get all the grease out. You get all the excess of out. It looks kind of nice. It gets out of the grease. I was gonna take this thing and pressure wash everything and bring it outside, jack it up, take the wheels off, pressure wash. And then I'm like, I've done that before. I've done this one on this Jeep. So even though you pressure washed it, which I think would really work out nice, and I think maybe the next one will do that one. But this one's on the lift already. It might be a nice day. I'm probably not gonna paint it because you gotta do a lot of prep work before you paint anything. And then you gotta send the body out to get painted. And they do like, okay, you can paint it with a spray bomb. Spray bomb is a one can deal. It's like, how can everything be mixed in a can and then you spray it in a hardener? It just doesn't make any sense to me. You need an activator, you need the spray, you need paint and an activator to make that paint strong, like a rock. Like you can sit there and paint these things, and you can do it, and I've done it. I have paint, and you can paint it on, and it looks really nice. That might be nice, but something like this, with all the nooks and crannies, you could do it either or. Like honestly, I've done both, and they look really nice. I have that paint too, and that's just a brush on, and it's really strong. Man, it's like you can, when you're done, let it sit for a day or whatever. I let paint sit as long as you can. Keep the shop warm and bake it in basically. You can hit it with a freaking hammer. It doesn't even chip the paint. I'm like, nah, that's good paint. Now you can do all this prep work. And like I did, I slowed down all the things by undercoating, and I can see it's flaking up here on the frame a little bit. You can go crazy, but my deal is to get these things on the road for every day, have fun with them, and then do a little bit of a restoring project, maybe in the winter time, like when you're not supposed to drive a Jeep. Yeah, they got 4-wheel drive. You drive them all the time. Put the hard top back on, drive them. Right now, spring is coming. Top is off. I want to take this for a ride today, so I don't want to go crazy taking things apart. I don't want to take paint because then you got to let it dry. But I would like to take this out for a nice ride today. I did order the oil pressure gauge this morning. So my deal is, it might help you out, it helps me out. And then show you a little, I'm going to take apart the caliper on this thing. And then we're going to lube everything spins. Are we in 4-wheel drive still? I didn't take it out of 4-wheel drive. Let me take this thing out of 4-wheel drive. It's out of 4-wheel drive. I'll get this thing. Okay, now it's out of 4-wheel drive. I'm spinning the differential. That's nice. Okay, now you can see it's moving nicely. The differential is still locked, so it's going back to the transfer case. And if you notice, watch this. A little bit of interesting. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. So I'm spinning the rotor, and at the same time you see that front differential moving. And the differential's moving, and what it's doing is basically it's now if I spin the other side, this should not spin. I'm gonna go spin the other side. Let's go see if that differential moves. I don't think it should. Okay, it is. I was wrong, it is. So I can either move both wheels, and it can't be locked. Well, that side's locked. All right, that side's locked. That seems like it's a posi. Can't be a posi up front. No, I was holding it. I was able to hold it, so it can't be a posi. Unless the clutches are, it can't be a posi unless the clutches are wasted in that rear end. I also want to show you later too how to check the gear ratio if you can't get it exactly right. Or, okay, you got a plate on there. It says it's 410s. Now I found out a lot of things on these, which is cool, and I did miss that deal. I really wanted that one, and you know what? When you want something, go get it. Because if you don't go get it, it's gone. So that would have been a great winter project. I wanted a straight six. Now the straight sixes, I think, are geared with a higher gear. So they're like 373s, 273s, whatever, and the differentials and everything. Because you don't need that much gear to keep these things going. But the four cylinders, they run the high gears, like 410s in here. So I'm pretty much sure that this is 410. So you got the same power. People are like, well, I need a straight six. Why? I'm just telling you why. You tell me why. And they're like, because it's got more power. I'm like, okay, you got the power here, but you don't got it in differentials. You know, your rear's got 2 cylinders. That's why those 6 speeds or 5 speeds, 6 cylinders. With a 5-speed, man, you could cruise down the highway 70, 80 probably. I wouldn't do it with an old Jeep, but I would do 70, 80. I don't know. I guess you can. I've done 70 with this thing, 75. Yeah, I've cruised. This one cruises. This one's got. Now I know you got 410s with a 4-cylinder, and for some reason I don't think the 4-cylinder is stock. I think it's been replaced, the engine. Now it's got 230 on it, and we are selling this on Marketplace. Facebook. Just go through Facebook, look for there, try to find me. And then I took it off eBay. eBay is just not working for me. Like certain things. We're going to list some more parts later, but I thought I'd start with more Jeep today, this morning. So let me finish a little bit of the coffee, and then I'm just going to take this caliper off. That's it. That is a simple thing. So I showed you all that, and the reason why I was showing you the gears and rotating and everything, you can figure out gear ratio very easily. You mark the drive shaft, and then you mark a part of this, and then you spin this, and you see how many times that rotates. So if this goes 1 time around and that goes 4 times around, you got 410s or 4 somethings. You know, like somebody, the 410s, 411s. Don't get so crazy. You know, you got 4s. You know, you turn it around once, and that only turns 2.5. You're running 273s, 260s. That's more of like a highway gear. These gears, that's why you're shifting these things constantly with the 5-speed. I have one with a straight 6 or an automatic. That thing screams down the road. With a straight 6, I think that thing's geared and it has only a 3-speed tranny in it. But that thing's tough, man. I won't give her up. I don't know why. That's something else, that truck. I found one with a straight 6 5-speed. The year was a little newer than this. I'm not too sure if it was a TJ or a YJ. 98, I don't think there was a YJ. I think they went to TJ. I got to figure out what years they would finish. So that's how you can tell your gear ratio. I'm gonna lock it later. I'm gonna mark it. I want to see the gear ratio, so you know if somebody actually, your tag might say it's 410s. Maybe they put 456s in there, 488s, 513s. Killer ratio. I had in my race car, I had 488s, street gears, Richmond. They were soft gears, but they were used for street and track. Worn out posi, and I still did 10s and a quarter. And I built that thing, and when I get hung it up, it would have been an 8.5 car easy. Easy. It would have ran into 9s if I just ran it once, but I couldn't do it no more, man. Bought a house. There goes your fun toys. But I've done that. Now I like the Jeeps. You know, you get older, you want to go a little slower, buy a Jeep. Then you go buy Godzilla. Then you're back in the race days again. That thing's got power. Holy cow. Man, I got power. And that's coming in soon. Not this week. I don't think so. Maybe. Gotta keep tuned, man. Got a part up there. You might be able to see it. Yes, you can. If you pay attention and you look a little, you'll see a part up there. Now you gotta look a little bit, but it's in one of those boxes there. It says something about warranty or protected. Keep your engine, I don't know, it says something about engine and protection. But if you really scan in on it, which you really can't see, there's a label on there that tells you what part it is. Godzilla's part. Stock? Yeah, it's stock. What are you talking about? Oh no. She's stock. Yeah, she's stock. So that's what some guy was teaching me. Never lift your hood. Don't tell him what you got. You'll definitely win the race, but come on, man. That's not. So I'm telling the guy, if he ever watches my videos, Godzilla's stock. Look at that, straight face and everything. Watch. Godzilla's stock. He's sitting in his car, his Durango. Now I know it's a Hemi in there, but it's a small Hemi. I know it's not supercharged because I've opened the hood before because I was going to do some work to it, but I never did. I'm not a painter. He wanted me to paint the hood. I said, I don't paint. He goes, no, I don't. I don't paint. That's period. I send this stuff out to get painted. Can't paint. Legally, I can't paint. You can do a spray bomb thing, and you might be able to paint a little, but I'm not a body shop. Basically, eBay, restoration. Every Joe anybody can do this. Anybody. You gotta have a lot of time now on your hands. If you have a regular job, it ain't so easy. Now this is all full time. So let's get back, let's pop this caliper off real quick, okay? And then get a real couple off. So it's a simple thing. I already got the ratchet. I'm just gonna take the caliper off, and then I can actually show you. We're just gonna clean up the slides. It's not seized up. You already saw me rotating everything. This is probably a new caliper at one time, and you'll know in a second. Actually, before I do that, what I showed you yesterday was a good idea. I used to always take a simple pry bar like this, you wedge it in here, you push the caliper back, and you can see it's moving back and forth. So now you got your caliper, does move. Try to get in there without cracking a pad. And I don't know how old these pads are. You kind of want to press that piston back a little bit. But the piston is usually connected in the pad. I don't want to crack the pad. There we go. We got it. Right. Little by little, compress it all the way. Alright, you didn't crack the pad, which is good. You're showing you, it goes all the way back. It shows it rotates. It's hitting this here a little bit. So maybe I'll pop the rotor off, clean it up, put it back together. So now you know your slide is actually working pretty damn good. That's good. You hold the rotor and your caliper's going back and forth like this. You know I've already applied brakes, so I've ever drove into this. So that caliper is going to grab that rotor. So you're going to put fluid through here. The fluid, when you're pressing that pedal, you're pushing this fluid into this caliper, which is a hand. It just grabs that rotor, locks it up, and that's it. Well, grabs the rotor, slows your car down. That's the whole principle of hydraulics, back to mechanical, and then that's it. So it means a simple thing. The thing is, like I've said before, people will wear that brake pad out, and that's it. You're talking, I don't know, nowadays it's probably like a $200 front brake job, pads, and a rotor. I mean, that's what I would charge. I don't kind of do that stuff anymore. It's too simple. But for the average Joe, it might not be simple, but after you do a billion freaking brake jobs on cars, nothing. We'll do a brake job on a truck. That's hard. That's heavy. Don't expect the guy, hey, I gotta come in here with a big truck. You know, he's got 40 feet of truck and he's got brakes are grinding. Yeah. This is why I drink so much coffee. I'll be like, and you'll have it, today's Monday, you'll have it Wednesday. Well, I need it now. Okay, keep driving it. You got no brakes, right? Yeah. Dude, you know how long it's gonna take me to do brakes? And how expensive it is? That's all I gotta tell you. So here it is right there. I mean, it's got, what happened is these slides here freeze up, and I'll tell you one thing, that's pretty damn good. The guy that took care of this definitely took care of it, definitely. This boot fell out of there, put the boot around. Remember, we're not gonna even do these brakes. We're not replacing these brakes. So the rubber boot should go around the metal slide. So basically here's going to be a little grease and it slides really nice. And this side is also sliding really nice. There ain't nothing wrong with these calipers. These calipers have probably been replaced. We're going to clean it up a little bit. We'll clean this up a little bit. We'll take off the rotor. Just like that. I'll put a little, I'll clean this up. I'll clean this up a little bit and that's done. So we're gonna clean up the rotor. We're not replacing that rotor. There's no pad. There's no vibration. We're gonna take the brake pad, and on the brake pads, usually they're wearing uneven. But if you slap brake pads in here and in an old rotor, you're gonna have this is gonna be it's gonna be uneven, and you're gonna have a pulsation. So do the pad and the rotor at the same time always. So I'm gonna clean all this up with wire wheel, wire brush, just like that. Nothing special. That's all we're gonna do. We're not gonna go crazy. And then you take your smaller ones and you get into the smaller cracks. That's it. Just showing you what you need to do, what you should do, if you want to kind of restore it and paint it. Now what we'll do is leave this all off. And like I said, don't paint the rotor because then the paint will get into the rotor. So leave this apart. Shoot it, and then put it back together. That'd be nice, right? So the pad, just take the junk off of it. Like I said, pads are so cheap, right? You could do a brake job. And everybody said, oh, I want a cheap Jeep. Well, I'm gonna give you a cheap Jeep. But I'm gonna give you a lot of used parts. Or repaired parts, which nobody does this. Nobody is gonna take a brake pad and clean a brake pad up and put it back in. It's just not heard of. Because if you go in, usually you need pads, which you could put a little backing brake grease on here, and here's your shim right here, which will absorb some of the shock, and that'll prevent squeaks. And these older trucks, you ain't gonna get a squeak, period. Here's your vent right here, between that crack right there, at your vent or your wear bar. Once that wear bar hits pretty much done, that's it. You can go to the end, but once that wear bar hits, it's usually going to hit metal, and metal, you're done. That's it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to clean them up, and then I'm going to put some, I'm not even going to put any grease on it because I just, I just don't think that's a good thing to do. Maybe a little bit of light grease, on the backing pad here, and inside this caliper also do the same thing. Just wire wheel it all off, and then put everything back. So you put a little grease around here, which is going to hit against the piston of the caliper, and then it'll just absorb any kind of noise or shock. So we'll work on that, and then you can take the other pad out. That one's usually stuck pretty good because it pops in and then it clicks in. There's holes on the pads, the outer pad, and it'll pop into a recess so the pad won't slide out on you. So this spring is going to hold it to the caliper. It's a simple thing. So there's your outer pad, and then you do the same thing. Wire all off. Normally, you do not do this. This is just not heard of. There's no reason why you should do this. But everybody said, make a cheap Jeep. Okay, I'll make it a cheap Jeep, but I can tell these pads have been replaced definitely. Probably like 100 times, you know? And the brake lathe deal, I was gonna get a brake lathe, and I see no purpose really of them anymore, because if you sit there and spend an hour cutting a rotor, you have to charge somebody an hour of labor at $100 something an hour. Guess what? You could have bought the rotor for 20 bucks, 30 bucks. So, and it's not gonna be that nice. It's not gonna come out that nice. You're gonna lose the thickness, you're gonna have shimmies, you're gonna shake. Just put new rotors, new pads, you put this together, you're done. That's my way of doing it. This way, we're just gonna sand them all down. You got plenty of material, you got plenty of brakes. We're gonna clean it all up. We're gonna spray all this down and done. So that's it. That's how we're gonna show you. So I'm gonna finish cleaning this all up, and then I'm gonna do the other side. When you do the other side, clamp this caliper down. Clamp it with a vise in here, because when you compress that side, this side's gonna push out, and you pop the piston right out. If you pop the piston out, caliper's no good. Or then you got to put it all back together, and hopefully that seal didn't rip. There's a seal inside that piston, like almost a ring, and that's it. So that's it for now. I'm gonna wash up, we'll grab some real coffee. I'll be back and I'll show you some more of this later. Bye everybody.